Welcome to this new tutorial on Kaizen, and in this tutorial we're going to be looking at the finance aspect of it. So what tools does Kaizen have that allows you to handle your finances? So it's as easy as going to this menu, navigating to this menu, which has its child menus there. So as you can see, it has estimates, invoices, recurring invoice, payments, expenses recurring, and credit note. So we're going to go into each one of these briefly. Some of them are pretty obvious. I'm sure if you're an accountant, or even if you're not an accountant, you should know what a payment is. But we're going to go into it on the technical aspect to make sure that you get it right. So this is the estimates section. The estimates are pretty much quotations. So you create a statement on how much something is going to cost. So for example, if you're being requested to provide some services, that potential client is going to be looking for the amount that is going to cost. So it's going to cost. So you're going to come here, create an estimate. You can choose the client. If you already have clients in there, you can choose put one here that you've already registered. So this number is auto-generated, it's auto-incremented. You can choose the currency. Obviously, since most of organizations are based in Malawi, we put in the MWK currency. You put the validity period. So this estimate that we are creating is valid up until, let's say, 30 December. All right. If your organization or your business sells products, you can add them here. I'm going to get into the product section a little later. So essentially you can add the products here so that they can also be calculated, or they can be grouped together with the other items that you are including. So for example, you have been asked to supply cement, for example. All right, cement, you put the quantity, it's 43, the unit price, let's say 7,000, and that the tax, let's say it's not applicable. The tax, usually you would have already put it prior to this, but if you're an admin, you can put it even here. You can indicate that this is the price. For example, VAT, the rate, let's say it's 16.5, right? 16.5%, and you save it. So if you apply it there, it's going to come show over here. And what the system does is you can add it here. And then what the system does is it adds the total based on the quantity and the unit price that you have indicated. If you want to add the description, you can say maybe Aksha cement, whatever it is, manufactured in Malawi, right? So if you want to add another item, you can add it here. So you can add another item, let's say boots. We've been asked to supply boots, and there are 3 of them. The unit price is 12,000, and the tax, you can select something or you can leave it blank depending on the situation. You can add a description. You can add as many items as possible on this estimate. So these are essentially, look at them as quotations that you can put, or you can give to potential clients or potential suppliers or potential buyers. Or if you're working on a project, you can use this to create an estimate of how much the project is going to cost to a potential donor. All right. So if you want to remove something, you can come here and remove that item. So now the VAT has been calculated, and then you can see the total there, and so on and so forth. I think on the rate we are supposed to put 0.165 just to make it accurate. Let me just put that so that there's no confusion. So the rate is 0.165. right? So if we do that, we're going to apply that type of VAT to that product, to that estimate. Okay, it has removed the other aspect. I don't know why it did that, but essentially we're just going to do that again and do, let's say, 23 bags. The unit price is this, and then the tax is this, right? And then you can add another one, as I said, just to repeat the process. Make sure everybody is on the same page. We're supplying boots. and 34 of them, and the price is 9,000 per boot, and then that does not have any tax selected. So you can put notes, say this estimate is valid only for Malawian orders, just as a note that would be applied to the estimate. So if you save it, you can save it and send. That is, if you have already created the client, you can save it and send directly, so it's going to get to their email, or you can just save it as draft. So you can access it, you can change it, you can do whatever you want before you actually send it. So if you open this estimate here, which is the very first estimate that we have created, 001, this is how it's going to look, with your logo there, with your address, with these lines now. The cement is 23, the what, the price is so much, and the VAT is like that. So everything is going to be calculated, and the note that you put is going to be there. So if somebody is sending this note to a client, the client is going to receive it, and they're going to have an option to download it as a PDF, so that they can share, or they can print it, they can show it in meetings, or whatever the case may be. So essentially, that is how the estimates are handled. Essentially, think of them as quotations. I'm going to go to the next section, which is the okay, let me just show you this, the PDF version of the estimate, or of the quote. It's going to show like this. So you see how beautiful it is. Everything is well formatted, it looks professional, and so on and so forth. So if you didn't select the client, it's not going to show their details here, but if you did, it would have shown them there. All right, so let's go to invoices. So invoices essentially are invoices that you know what an invoice is, obviously, but you create them to send to somebody, so that to show them the amount of money that they're supposed to pay for something. All right, so if it's related to a project, you can choose the project here, maybe the trial project, or if it's not related to any project, you can just leave it there. The company name is disabled because that project is not related to any organization or donors. The due date, let's say, is on the 20th. The currency is Malawian kwacha. The invoice date is today. Let's just make it on Monday, because nobody creates invoices on a Sunday. If you have products that are related to that invoice, you can add them here. But essentially, you can just indicate the lines of the invoices on this section. So let's say this company got web hosting services. Web hosting services. They're supposed to be for every month, 12 months. The unit price for every month is like 15,000, for example. Tax, select none, or you can select whatever it is. The amount is automatically calculated here. So this is the description. You can say managing emails, domain, online storage, and bandwidth, for example, right? Bandwidth. So when you add it, if you want to put another item, you can add it here. Let's just say training. So this training was done for 3 days, and the unit price is the unit cost for each day is 150,000 kwacha. All right, it's not. Let's subject this one to tax, and then when you do that, it's going to calculate, and you can put the note as well, and then you can save and send it, or you can save it as a draft, or you can just save it in the system so that you can look at it, edit it. When you're satisfied with it, that's when you can send it to the client. Okay, so it's going to show this total project. Client, they Save the Children, and the total amount is this. It's not paid. That's the status. So here you can also see a lot of options that are associated to that. So if you're satisfied with the invoice, you can send it, you can edit it, you can add another payment to it, you can add a shipping address, you can delete, you can cancel, or you can send a payment link so that the client can use it to pay if you have online payment methods such as PayPal and stuff like that. But essentially, when you open it, this is what you're going to see when you open the invoice. this is what you're going to see. I don't know why it has come to, okay, it has come to the project because it's related to that. So if you want to come, if you have attached it to a certain project, all you have to do is go to this tab, the invoices tab, so that you can see, as you can see this one here, it's the one that we created just now. You can download it. It's going to download as a PDF file, and once that is done, you can open it here. So I'm just gonna say open when done, so that we immediately see how that has played out. Just a second. My internet is kind of slow today. I don't know why. It's taking forever to open or download a PDF document, which is very, very uncomfortable. Let's go to the downloads. Okay, seems like it's finished. All right, so here it is. This is the invoice. As you can see, the date and the due date, the status. So that can be sent to the client or to the donor or to whoever it's supposed to be sent. And this allows you to track recent payments attached to that. So we're going to get to that. If somebody pays, the system tracks, look, this has been paid, and then you can add these payment lines here so that you and the client or the donor are on the same page regarding what is going on. So essentially that's invoices, but you can create recurring invoices if you supply goods or services on a regular basis. You don't want to be creating invoices for each and every piece of payment along the line. What you can do is you can create a recurring invoice, and then you just set, choose the parameters, you choose the billing frequency, whether it's supposed to be sent daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, annually, so on and so forth. Let's say you can say you're providing hosting services and it's paid for, let's say, half a yearly. Let's say quarterly though. Let's say quarterly, this web hosting service is supposed to be paid, and we are sending this on the 15th of each month, or maybe on the 20th, just to make it more towards the end of the month. The billing cycle, let's just say, let's put 4. So we want 4 invoices to be sent during each and every quarter of the year. All right, so the client can have the option to stop it as a recurring invoice, but we're going to uncheck that. If you have products attached, you can put there. If you have other items, you can add them here. Now, this is going to be created every 3 months for 4 times. So that's like a whole year. All right, since it's quarterly, every 3 months, and then it's going to happen 4 times. So that's essentially what a recurring invoice is. It's just there to save you the trouble of creating the invoice every time, if you know that that is something that is paid on a regular basis. Okay, so I'm going to move on to payments. These payments allows you to indicate the payment that you're receiving as an organization. All right, so you find them right here. It's number 4 on the menu, on the finance menu. If you come here, it allows you to add payment, right? So the money that is coming into the organization. So for example, you have a project, or maybe let's not attach it to a project. Let's just a general payment, right? So you sent out an invoice, for example, that invoice that we sent, was it to Save the Children, I think. And we are saying this amount of money was paid on Saturday, yesterday. And the currency obviously is Malawian kwacha, and the money that has been paid, let's just say, is 23,000 kwacha. Like, it's not all of the amount that was indicated on the invoice. So if you have online payment methods, you can list them here. You can indicate it here that this is the gateway that was used to make the payment. All right, and then you get the transaction ID. You can, let's just say, bank transfer. By the way, before we go further, we do have an option that allows you to create these payment methods, these payment gateways. So you can refer those just to make sure that, you can use them there. All right, the transaction ID, if you have it handy, you can just say, yeah, paid, and then da-da-da-da-da. All right, the receipt, if you have a receipt that you have created for this client, you can select the file and attach it here. All right, so that is basically, let me just send something like this as a receipt. and then you can put the remark, thank you for your business. Yeah, and then you can save it. So this amount of money is going to be added to the amount of money that the organization is making, sort of the income. All right. So if you go to the invoices, because it was this payment was attached to an invoice, you find that this invoice has been partially paid, because the payment that we just created was attached to this invoice, to invoice number 001, right? But it wasn't the full amount, so it's been partially paid. So the system notices that, okay, this payment has been partially paid, and if you want to view it, you can just come here and see the details here, right? See the details. As you can see now, recent payments is going to show you that this is the amount of money that has been paid, and it was paid on this date. Now, the initial amount was this, but now what's remaining is here because of the amount that has been paid here. So this is a very convenient way of making sure that everything it can be tracked. Okay, everything can be tracked, because if you download it as a PDF, you're going to see now on the second page how the recent payments have been handled, to make sure that you, as well as the client or the supplier or the buyer, can track the payments that have been made towards that, so that there is no mistaking in terms of the calculation. All right, so if you open the PDF invoice, it's going to show you this is the total amount, the total paid is this, the total due is this. The recent payment tab comes in on the second page. So this makes life very, very, very easy for us, an organization, instead of having to go to Excel and do all this kind of magic. All right, so the same thing with recurring invoices. Okay, I've talked about recurring invoices already. I was on payments, but it's pretty much the same thing with expenses, right? The expenses are the things that you're spending money on. All right, so for example, if you have to pay rentals, that's for sure. You have to create rentals, and then you choose the person who is responsible, because what the system does is it sends email notifications to that person when the payment dates are coming closer. So for example, let's say admin, select the project. Let's not attach it to a project. We can create you can create these categories for this expense, but now we don't have any. We're just going to leave it like that. And the currency is kwacha. Item name, let's say rentals. All right, this is an expense, and the rentals are 57,000 kwacha. All right, we can just indicate the name, landlord X, for example. All right, so on the purchase date, essentially they are the date on which we are supposed to make that expense. All right, if it is attached to any invoice that we might have been sent from the landlord, or through email or a scanned copy, we can select the invoice so that it's attached here, so that everybody who is viewing this expense can know that it's being made because of this invoice. All right, but we don't have an invoice for that, so we're just going to go ahead and create it. All right, so this is the amount of money that has been paid. All right, now just as the invoices, you can make these expenses as recurring expenses. So for example, if you know that you have to pay, let's not use the rentals example. I want to use something different. If you know that you have to pay, okay, let's just come to add recurring expense. And item name, let's say you have to pay for let's say insurance company, car insurance, right? Car insurance. If you have categories for cars, you can put it here, or if you don't, you can add. If you don't have, you can just add it here if you are logged in as an admin. So you can say category name, cars or vehicles. Let's try to be accurate. Sorry for the misspelling. Assign to, you can choose nobody, or everybody. All right, so if you save, okay, maybe we just need to employee, so it assigns. I don't know why this is not doing that, but we're not going to let it delay us. We're just going to leave it like that. So no expense categories. You can describe it here: car insurance with whatever company you're using, whatever insurance broker. Then they choose the member that is associated with that expense, who is supposed to make that expense. So let's say admin for now, and select the project. If it's attached to any project, you select the price. So this is let's say it's a 15,000 per month, right? And then the billing frequency is monthly, because obviously we've chosen the price that's used for a month. All right, on the day of the month that this is supposed to be made is the 30th, or just make it the 26th. The billing cycle is 12. All right, so 12 months per year. If this comes with an invoice that you were given from the insurance broker or whoever is providing this service, you can choose it here and attach it. But since we don't have that, you can just save it. So what will happen is every month on the 26th or before that, the system is going to send you notifications. Say, okay, you know what? You are supposed to make this expense on this date. All right. And this is supposed to be made to this person, and this is the amount of money, and so on and so forth. So that is how the system handles expenses under the financial aspect, so that everything is tracked. So you can see, if you go back to the dashboard admin, to the admin dashboard, you're going to see that all these are there: unresolved tickets, the total clients, the total projects, the unpaid invoices, everything else gives you a bigger picture. So like the recent earnings, how much money have you received? So far we received 23,000 Gwaja from that invoice, right? So all this data is there for you to make sure that you can see who is on leave during this period, or you can go and choose another month, choose a week, choose a day to see who is who. So these are the overdue tasks. These are the tasks that are supposed to be followed up on, and so on and so forth. And this is showing you the project activity timeline, user activity timeline, show you what exactly is happening every second of the day, so that you as an admin or head of department or director for the organization, you can see what exactly is going on. So that is all about finances for today. If you have any question, please feel free to add it in the comment so that we can get back to you and try to explain everything better.